Hola friends, I'm Peter Nasonov and I'm here to help you live your best life. Today I'm trying something new. So you've probably seen that I'm doing this 30-day no electronic devices challenge. I just posted a video about a week ago here on YouTube. And the unexpected benefit and upside, I would say, of this challenge that I didn't know would occur is that I've got a lot more creative energy. And I feel like I have enough bandwidth, enough decisiveness and capacity to try out something new on top of that challenge. So here is what I'm doing. I want to try and shoot this video in one take, straight, with no editing, no adjustments, no nothing. If you've seen my other videos, you probably know that they're usually pretty heavily edited. I cut out all the unnecessary fluff or even unnecessary breaths, and the videos come out very condensed and straight to the point. And it's great, I think, if you are there to just learn about something, because it's extremely well thought out. Now I'm a little bit praising myself, but I think that they're extremely well thought out, and I spend a lot of time preparing for them, researching, writing scripts, then shooting, then editing, and that's great. On the other hand, the videos suffer a little bit from in a sense that you lose a little bit of authenticity and personality because all the quirks don't make it to the final cut. So this is an attempt to be as authentic as possible. So we keep it extremely real, and yeah, let's do this. So without further ado, this video is about 5 book recommendations that you can and probably should read while on quarantining, because I think it's one of the best use of your time. Okay, let's start with book number 1. And the book number 1 is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I've talked about this book a million of times, and if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I absolutely love this book. I think in the times where you feel stressed or anxious or any other kind of unpleasant feeling, this sort of fairy tale is exactly what's needed to uplift you. I think I'm also gonna rate the books in terms of preparation for you to read them. Like if you are a beginner or a person who's always been saying, oh, I want to start reading. Reading is so great. Everybody recommends reading. All the successful people read. If you're one of those, but you haven't really been reading, this book is a great start. By the way, I'll make sure to post links to all of the books below this video. I'm also working on a page on my website dedicated to books because I'm reading so much and I'm loving it so much that I think creating a separate page with my reviews and recommendations would be of a lot of use for everybody, including myself, because then when you think through, when you look back and you analyze what you've read, you get to a whole nother level of understanding. Yeah. And deeper comprehension of the book. So The Alchemist, this is the 25th anniversary edition. So he wrote it 26, 27 years ago, but it doesn't really matter. It's great. It's a must read, and probably you have read it. So beginner, intermediate, and advanced level, all and each and everybody will enjoy it. And let me actually, I have some favorite parts in every book, and I usually read books with a pencil and I underline, and sometimes with exclamation points or some notes when I like something too much. Let me find, okay, here, I have one. Ta-da! Just a random page 15. You came so that you could learn about your dreams, said the old woman, and dreams are the language of God. Wow, that's deep shit right away. And of course I underlined it and I put an exclamation point here. Dreams are the language of God. So if you are given a dream, if you have a dream, the author claims, or he's hinting, that this is God speaking to you. You have to listen. Yeah, and ignoring dreams would mean denying God or denying higher powers' intentions for you. You know, that's some deep shit. Oh my God. Okay, next book. What should I talk about next? Okay, the next book is The War of Art, book number 2, Steven Pressfield. I read this book a long time ago for the first time, and let me tell you, if you are feeling sluggish, unmotivated, if you live a Groundhog Day every day, and pretty much a lot of us have been doing just that. I think we have been in isolation for 3 weeks now, correct me if I'm wrong, but about 3 weeks, and every day looks like the previous one. This is a great book for getting back together, and it's a kick-ass motivation book. And my favorite part probably is that this motivation book is written by not by one of your motivational speakers that tell you, oh, you can do this, come on, believe in yourself, you have the inner powers. Those are great too. I mean, if I'm in the mood, I like me some good motivational book. But this is a whole different level. Actually, let me check if I'm even recording. I am. Yeah, it's great. And it's not your typical motivation, it's a motivation from the inside out. So this book, The War of Art, is about overcoming resistance, how resistance gets in the way between your dreams and making them come true. And I love it so much that I even memorized it. I'll read a passage from this book for you. This is how it begins. There is a secret that real writers know that wannabes don't, and the secret is this. It's not the writing part that's hard. What's hard is sitting down to write. Genius! What keeps us from sitting down is resistance. Duh! So basically, I think that's a pretty universal thought that can be applied to a lot of spheres of our life. It's not blank that's hard. What's hard is starting doing blank. Sitting down to blank. Let's say it's not meditation that's hard. What's hard is to sit down and start meditating. Meditation is actually extremely pleasant. It's so pleasant, it can get addictive. That's a different story. And actually, I have a book coming up addressing a little bit that. But, you know, it's not gaining muscle that's hard. I mean, it's challenging. But what's really hard is getting your ass to the gym and started working out, right? Yeah, who can relate? It's not making money that's hard. What's hard is to sit your ass and focus your time and attention on building an asset, even an online business, that makes you money. It's not shooting these videos that's hard. Actually, I'm having a lot of fun. if you, I don't know if you can tell or not, I'm having fun. So thanks for watching. Keep watching, I have 3 more books. Yeah, it's not recording these videos that's hard. What was hard is just to sit down to overcome that internal resistance. And of course, it's all rooted in fears and all that. That's a whole nother story. The point is that what's hard is sitting down and start doing something. I will address in the future videos what keeps us from sitting down on top of the resistance. It has to do a lot with biology too. We are stuck in our body. Everybody has a body, and this body produces certain hormones that can either make you or break you. You can feel empowered and be in a great state when you wake up and ready to nail everything, or you can wake up feeling exhausted already after an average night's sleep. That's a pretty common story. So, great read. And it's a quick read too, because what I love about this author is, look what he's doing. For example, if he has this the thought, book 1, Resistance, it consists of 3 books. I'll tell you more about that. The enemy is a very good teacher. Makes sense. If he's done with the thought, look, he's done with his thought, he just finishes. And starts writing on the next page. Done, next, done, next. So you can make it through this book. If not in one sitting, then in 2 sittings for sure. It's like 1 or 2 evenings read, and then you'll find yourself super motivated. That's the much needed surge that we all have been looking for these days. Yeah, I think it's great. What did I know? So this consists of 3 books. Book 1 talks about resistance, book 2 talks about overcoming resistance, and book 3 is about spiritual realms. He talks about how resistance is really rooted in the ego, and that's a great actually introduction and a great ground foundation for the next book that I'll be talking about. What did I... Oh! Resistance and sex. Don't we all want to hear that? Let me read that. Sometimes resistance takes the form of sex or an obsessive preoccupation with sex. Sound familiar? Why do you think you're so preoccupied with sex? Not you. Although, why not? You. Why do you think you're so preoccupied with sex? Why do you need to obsessively think about sex with others or even with yourself? It's resistance, baby. Why sex? He explains. Because sex provides immediate, powerful gratification. And immediate gratification and inability to delay gratification is quite an immature quality. Yeah, maturity means the ability to control your impulses, impulse control. So it's sort of infantilism, if there is a word like that, from the word infant, infantile. No comments from me. When someone sleeps with us, we feel validated and approved of and even loved. Resistance gets a big kick out of that. It knows it has distracted us with a cheap, easy fix, and kept us from doing our work. Isn't that true? I couldn't agree more. I underlined the hell out of it. Of course, not all sex is a manifestation of resistance. That's a good clarification. In my experience, you can tell by the measure of hollowness you feel afterwards. The more empty you feel, the more certain you can be that your true motivation was not love or even lust, but resistance. Those random hookups when you just need to nut. All that category, resistance, baby. You don't want to do the work, you want to distract yourself with some quick fun and quick and easy gratification. All right. It goes without saying that this principle applies to drugs, shopping, masturbation, sex with yourself, TV, gossip, alcohol, and the consumption of all products containing fat, sugar, salt, or chocolate. Damn it, I forgot how good he was. This is so true, so freaking true. It's gonna resonate on so many levels with you, and it's a kick-ass motivation in the end of the day. I highly recommend Steven Pressfield, The War of Art. Next book on our list. I have 2. Which one should I begin with? Well, actually I have the book about spirituality, and the last part of the previous book kind of lays a good foundation for that. But I think I'm going to talk about the more pop book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Yeah, written by Mark Manson. Mark Manson is a young guy around my age. I'm young, right? Am I? I think I'm young. Mid-30s, living in New York City. He has a blog and a great website, markmanson.com. Beautiful design. As a person who used to design and build websites myself, I was very appreciative and I admire his website. Very well built. It has a good sense of branding. Another story for a different video. So, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Pretty easy read. For my taste, if that guy was a writer and previous 2 books were written by writers, so you read them and you savor the language. You know, the first book is just written so smoothly, and it's such a fairy tale. The second book I talked about is he has a very witty, sharp mind. Excuse me. And when it comes to this guy, he's a blogger. He has solid writing skills, but when you read this, you don't feel like it's written by this writer who has a channeling through God talent. You know what I mean? What I felt in this book is it's very solid. You can tell that the guy spent hours and hours, days and weeks, I don't know, however long it took him, but you can tell that a lot of effort and work went into this book, and it's a very solid, seriously taken work. And that makes you feel good. I really appreciate when a person, when they sell something, you can tell that they have put some real hard, good effort into it. It's not just, oh my God, here. No, it's a very well thought out book, and he has some good points in it too. And it's very modern because he's a young blogger, very relatable, and he has a great story about a guy who was participating in a Japan war. Yeah, I think a general during the war in Japan, and he was fighting, and then he got lost in the forest, and then the war was over. But for 30 more years, he was fighting there in the forest alone, killing occasionally people, and that just goes to show you, and his whole message is about giving or not giving a fuck. That guy was giving too much fucks. He was so obsessed with this idea that the war was long gone, and for 30 more years he was still in the forest, hiding, acting like he's in the war zone. It's ridiculous. That's an extreme example, but this is how you can literally waste your whole life being attached or giving fucks about the wrong ideas. So what he teaches here is how to choose wisely as to what to give your fucks about. Yeah, that's the whole message of a book in one sentence, but it's still worth reading because it's a good exercise for the brain, and he gives you great ideas. And I looks like I have some notes here. Let's see what I noted. Negative emotions are a call to action. When you feel them, it's because you're supposed to do something. I think that's a great framework for life. Is it true? No. When you feel something, you're supposed to do something. If we are talking about ultimate truth, which is the next book, we'll talk more on that topic. When we talk about the ultimate truths, it's not the ultimate truth, but it's a relative truth, and it's a great framework for life to view negative emotions as a call to action, to change something. I think if you follow this framework, you will go really far and you will reach extraordinary results. Decision making based on emotional intuition without the aid of reason to keep you in line pretty much always sucks. Here, he talks about balancing it out. An obsession and overinvestment in emotion fails us for the simple reason that emotions never last. He makes a lot of interesting points that make you stop, underline the sentence, and think twice about it. That's what I like. It's a thought-provoking book. Okay, what do we see here? People want a partner or a spouse. We come back to relationships again. That's great. I think everybody's interested in this topic, right? But you don't end up attracting someone amazing without appreciating the emotional turbulence, what a good point, that comes with weathering rejections, building the sexual tension that never gets released, and staring blankly at a phone that never rings. Haven't we all experienced that at some point? Or am I revealing too much? It's part of the game of love. You can't win if you don't play. Ooh, this one is really good. The more interesting question is the pain. What is the pain that you want to sustain? It's the hard question that matters, the question that will actually get you somewhere. You know what? I agree. Yeah. I remember even my grandma was telling me that when you choose a partner, if you're in love with all of your heart, it's inevitable that at some point you'll notice that this person isn't perfect as well. And at that moment, you have to make a decision. Will you be able to be cool with all the imperfections that this person has? Or will they get at you eventually and will annoy the heck out of you and will force you out of the relationship? You know what I mean? So he's talking about the same. That's the hard question that will get you somewhere and that matters. What is the pain that you want to sustain? What is the battle that you are willing to fight? What is the pain that you want to sustain? Because when it's roses and tulips, or what are the flowers are in this original saying? You get the point. When the roses and tulips are everywhere, it's all cool and pink, you know, and nice. But it's when you get in trouble, you need to decide whether you can withstand this trouble, deal with it, or it's really going to annoy the hell out of you and you're going to want to just quit. I love questions. I used to run Ponderfest. I used to post questions daily for people to ponder over. Maybe it will come back at some point. I don't know right now. I haven't really thought about it. It just came to my mind. But great book. Mark Manson, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. The next book, finally, that I kept talking about is Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. My mom wants something. My mom wants to use the bathroom. I think I'm gonna keep it because it's an authentic, no interruptions video. Okay. She's been quiet so far. Oh, let me come. Wait. Breathing. Actually, that's what Eckhart probably would recommend. Take a deep breath. And he would also recommend direct your attention into your body. Feel the aliveness in your body. That's a whole nother story. Great book, very well written. Despite Eckhart is not a writer originally, his writing is very easy and accessible. Mark Manson was, I would say, for intermediate readers, because if you're a beginner, this book doesn't pull you through, you know? It's not a book that you can't put aside, like two previous books. The first two books, you literally don't want to put them down. You want to keep reading and reading voraciously. With Mark Manson, you can put it down and then come back and then put down, you know? So you need to be an intermediate level reader in terms that you need to have a developed skill and a pretty consistent desire to read, because if you don't have that desire, this book is not going to pull the desire out of you. The first two will definitely. I think it's really hard to quit reading them. With this book, it's somewhere in between, but it's such a radical, for people who are not familiar with Eckhart, it's such a radical approach to life that it can be really, really interesting to read, because you literally start viewing the whole world from a different perspective. It's a paradigm shift. Oh, excuse me. I feel thirsty as let me not curse. I bought this in the Azores Islands before the climb on the mountain, and this is still serving me so well. Okay, with Eckhart. The first book that he wrote and is called The Power of Now, and Oprah invited him and she interviewed him, and that's how he became famous originally. This is the second, I don't want to say second. So the first big book was The Power of Now. I do have a Power of Now somewhere. I don't see it without glasses right now. Let me find it, just 1 second. The Power of Now. Oy, oy, oy. I don't know. But there is a post on Instagram about The Power of Now, and I remember I took a picture of the book. That I don't see. It doesn't matter. We're talking about this book now. And even if you didn't read The Power of Now, you'll still be able to enjoy and fully understand and comprehend this book. Of course, if you would like to immerse yourself into this whole new paradigm and the worldview, it's best if you read both. Okay, let's talk about A New Earth. He talks about the evolution of consciousness, of human consciousness, and the ego. And what is ego? Many people think that having ego means being egotistical, selfish. Not at all. In a traditional sense, being selfish is not the same as being identified with your ego. Ego means identification with form. And thoughts are a form too. So basically, when you're operating from your ego, means that you literally believe everything your brain, your mind is telling you, and you believe your own ideas, you believe your own beliefs. That's why they're called beliefs. And that creates a lot of trouble and a lot of suffering in particular. And he says that until we dissolve ego, his own ego has died. He has stories you can find on YouTube, his story how his ego has died, and he experienced this incredible peace. Find him on YouTube and watch the story for yourself. But it was amazing. It was amazing what he experienced. And now he is teaching. His teaching is based on the death of ego, and he thinks that eventually the evolution will lead us to the death of ego, meaning people will not be identifying to their personal story, to their personal me. Oh my god, it's so hard to explain. I don't even know how to do this anymore. Ego concept, you need to be really, really clear on it to be able to explain it like that easily. That's why you need to read a book. Let's see what I marked. He talks about the joy of being, of course. Oh, I underlined something. One thing we do know, life will give you whatever experience is most helpful for the evolution of consciousness. Ding! Ringing a bell immediately, right away. How do you know this is the experience you need? Because this is the experience you are having at this moment. So guys, how do we know that the quarantine and this virus is what we need right now? Because this is what we're experiencing in this moment, apparently. It has its purpose, and the purpose, I'm pretty sure, knowing the Eckhart's message, he would say that the purpose is the evolution of consciousness. It's only through suffering, usually, that you get to the next level of a spiritual awakening. So he's an awakened master. That means his ego died. He doesn't identify with his personal story to a point where you don't know what you are anymore. You're not your thoughts, you're not your story, you're not your body. You have all those things, but you're none of them. And he says that you are the space in which all of that occurs. That's some deep shit. Try reading this book and see how it works for you. And my last book recommendation, number 5, is Sapiens. Intermediate to advanced level, I would say. Although it's a very serious long book. Jesus. Written by Yuval Noah Harari. Look at this young dude. Can you see it? He has a PhD in history from the University of Oxford. Wow. I know that he did a few TED Talks. So he's a recognized and respected educator, thinker, writer. Yes. And I actually saw recently an interview with Yuval Noah Harari and Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. I think Mark Zuckerberg was interviewing him recently. I didn't watch the interview, I just saw it in the suggested on YouTube. So go ahead and watch his TED Talk or his interviews. But this is one of the cornerstone books that he wrote. It's about a history of a humankind, of us, how we started. This is such a fascinating read. I haven't read it through. I just read the beginning, page 20. I'm on page 56 right now. But already I have a mark here to, and I'm not actually underlining anything. First, because I think I'll be underlining way too much, and second, because the paper is so nice in this book. It's white and lovely, and it has a lot of pictures of the, who are these? Our siblings according to reconstructions: Homo rudolphus, Homo erectus, and Homo neanderthalensis. Look, guys, these are our relatives. This looks almost like modern humans, Homo sapiens. Cool, right? So, okay, a little bit, maybe I'll entice you to read it. Let's see. The Cost of Thinking. So you get a gist of what this dude is about. Despite many differences, all human species share several defining characteristics. Most notably, humans have extraordinarily large brains compared to other animals. Mammals weighing 130 pounds have an average brain size of 12 cubic inches. How much is it, if I understand? 12 cubic inches. 3 by 4. So it's not a large brain. The earliest men and women 2.5 million years ago. Bam! Now we know when the earliest men and women were living on this planet, on the planet Earth. 2.5 million years ago. Had brains about 36 cubic inches. Modern sapiens sport a brain averaging 73 to 85 cubic inches. Mamma mia, huge. Oh my God, get this. Neanderthal brains were even bigger. I would never thought. If this question was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I would have never guessed that Neanderthal brains were bigger than Homo sapiens brains. Never. That's an interesting fact. The evolution should select for larger brains. That evolution should select for larger brains may seem to us like, well, a no-brainer. We're so enamored of our high intelligence that we assume that when it comes to cerebral power, more must be better. Duh! We assume that. The more brains you have, the smarter you can be, the higher your IQ can be, the more advancements you can make and the more progress you can do. That's how we took over the world, right? I'm thinking that before reading through the whole book. I'm sure my opinion will change. But if that's the case, the feline family would also have produced cats who could do calculus, and frogs would by now have launched their own space program. With humor. Why are giant brains so rare in the animal kingdom? Tell me why. The fact is that a jumbo brain is a jumbo drain on the body. Jumbo brain, jumbo drain. It's not easy to carry around, especially when encased inside a massive skull. That's right. It's even harder to fuel. In Homo sapiens, the brain accounts for about 2-3% of a total body weight, but it consumes 25% of the body's energy when the body is at rest. So our brain are only about 2-3% of a total body weight, but they consume a quarter of all the energy that our body produces when at rest. Brain is an expensive organ. You see how much energy it consumes? 2-3% of it. I mean, I think I comprehended it. I am comprehending. Yeah, so this read is for intermediate to advanced readers only because it's incredibly long, over 400 pages, and written in small font. I think I'll be reading this for a month. We'll see. But it's fascinating, especially if you love history, human civilization, why we developed the way we developed. There were several Homo sapiens took over and annihilated all the rest Homos. And I think he explains a lot of that. He gives a lot of answers to those questions. So if you have curious mind, that's the book to read. So that's it. Those were my 5 books. I wanted to give you, why don't I give you a bonus book to read. Actually, no, let me give it to you next time. I think that was enough of the review. I'm getting tired and sweaty, and my mom is getting impatient. Those are clear signs that it's time to wrap up. Guys, tomorrow I am planning to do a recording in one sitting as well, and tomorrow we will be talking about addressing the challenges of this corona, and particularly the challenge of staying locked in at home. Why it's so challenging, what's hard about it, and what we can do about it. How to stay sane during the lockdown. I'll share my thoughts on the topic, and hopefully they will be useful as this particular video that I am shooting right now about the books. Hopefully I convince you to pick up at least one or two or all of them maybe, and enjoy the reading. Oh, one incredible benefit that I also noticed from reading, particularly in the nighttime, is that during this 30-day challenge that I'm going through right now, I turn off my phone and other devices, do my best to turn them off at 10, and then for an hour or two I read, and then I see the most vivid, incredible dreams in my life. I couldn't have predicted this side effect, so to speak, but they're so realistic or so bright, so interesting, so saturated, so satiated that I don't want to wake up sometimes in the morning. I want to keep watching the dream, you know? And I kind of started forgetting this because I killed this with social media, with watching a TV that offers you the picture. When you read, your brain produces the picture. And then I guess when you fall asleep, it keeps producing the picture. So if you've been having difficulty falling asleep, try turning off your devices, all of them, your iPad, your iPhone, or tablet, phone. Let me not be partial to Apple. Not everybody's using iPhones. Maybe you have a Samsung or whatever. Your tablet, your phone, your laptop, your computer, all your electronic devices, stay in silence and try reading. I pretty much guarantee if you don't have a particular condition, if you just like being anxious and bored out of your mind, dude or gal, staying at home, struggling to fall asleep at a decent time, turn off all devices 2-3 hours prior to going to bed and start reading, and truly enjoy the incredible, fascinating world of vivid, bright, interesting, captivating dreams. All right, guys, that's it for today, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.